Chris is a senior in high school. He's an all-star wide receiver. He goes up for a catch to practice before the state championship game. On his way down, he loses his footing and hits the back of his head really hard on the ground. He gets up and shakes it off. He doesn't go tell his coach. He doesn't go tell his athletic trainer. He just goes home and gets some rest. It's the fourth quarter. It's the last play of the state championship game. The play works to perfection. Chris is wide open. The quarterback hits him exactly when he's supposed to. He makes the catch. He has two players to beat, and the state championship game is in their hand. He has two defenders to beat. He lowers his head to get past the first defender, but because of this, the second defender is caught off guard and plows Chris in the head. Chris immediately drops to the ground. The athletic trainer tells someone to go call for EMS while he goes and tends to Chris. EMS gets there and takes him to the hospital, but later that night, Chris passes away. You shake it, you break it. Dr. Stephen Lowry's in his TED Talk in June 2016 said it best. This is the most beautiful description I've heard of the brain. Such a powerful, such an important organ in our body, but yet such a fragile organ in our body. Concussions are something that can affect anyone. They can affect you, they can affect your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, the crazy old man that lives down the street that no one wants to talk to and no one wants to be around. Concussions are something that can affect all of these people. I'm an athletic training major, and we take an emergency response class in which we learn specifically how to diagnose and treat concussions. Today I'm going to talk to you about what a concussion is exactly, the signs and symptoms and the effects of a concussion on the brain and on the body, and how prevalent concussions are in today's society. But first, let's begin with explaining exactly what a concussion is. According to Oregon Health and Science University in 2016, they said that anything that affects the normal workings of the brain is considered a concussion. So if you get punched in the face, and the violent jostling of your head from one side to the other, causing your brain to shake inside your skull, this can cause a concussion. If you get into a car accident and the force of your head hitting the airbag, forcing your brain to hit the front of your skull, can cause a concussion. Either of these things, among many, if it even minimally changes how your brain functions and works, is considered a concussion. Now that we've talked about what a concussion is, let's explain some signs and symptoms of a concussion. Firstly, the symptoms. Those struggling from a concussion can struggle to remember. They don't remember who you are. They don't remember where they are. They don't remember even who they are at times. Next, those suffering can struggle to sleep. You notice they're tired all the time, and they're always in bed, and they're always trying to sleep, but they're never rested. They're never able to sleep. Next, your mood and emotions can become irrational. They can be joyful and happy and wanting to talk to you one minute, but then the next minute they want to withdraw into themselves and they don't want anything to do with you. They want to be by themselves. They want to relax. Side effects on the body can be very clear, but can be very subtle as well. Symptoms can include headaches, dizziness, vomiting, fatigue, sensitivity to light. All of these things that when by themselves don't raise any red flags, when put together show clear signs of someone struggling from a concussion. Effects on the brain can include the brain's inability to regulate electrolytes. Electrolytes are ions that when released into the bloodstream can bring neurotransmission from the brain to the rest of the body. Concussions can also cause the brain to release toxic, excitatory neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters that, again, when released into the bloodstream, can become very deadly and very life-threatening. Next, your metabolic demands can become increased. You're not very hungry all the time, but your body needs the minerals, your body needs the nutrients, your body needs the vitamins because it's trying to fight this injury that you have acquired. According to Raja Kumari Reddy in 2017, 50% of people that suffer from concussions experience a slow mental state. Now that we've talked about what the symptoms and the effects of concussions are on the brain and on the body, let's talk about how prevalent they are in today's society. According to Jasmine Hayes in 2017, moderate to severe traumatic brain injuries have become the most common and the leading risk factor in later on development of moderate to severe Alzheimer's. Brett Favre, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play football. He threw for 508 touchdowns, 72,000 yards, played 20 seasons in the NFL, won a Super Bowl, and in 2016 was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Struggles to remember who his wife is. There are times where he can't remember who his children are. There are times where he can't remember who he is. And in an interview with Michelle Castillo in 2013, he admitted to suffering a hit in 2010 where he forgot which team he was playing for. Junior Seau, one of the greatest linebackers to ever play football, played 19 seasons, participated in 1,500 tackles and 56.5 sacks, caused 11 forced fumbles. Found dead on the floor of his house due to a gunshot wound to the head. Medical examiners later ruled that he had committed suicide, and further testing on his brain showed that multiple areas of his brain had been affected by chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a disease that can be acquired by multiple and repeated hits to the brain or multiple and repeated concussions. According to Josh Powell in 2017, up to 3.8 million athletes a year suffer from concussions. But thankfully, big organizations like the NFL are starting to make changes in how they deal with head-to-head contact. Roger Goodell, the president of the NFL, has been the man in charge of these changes. No longer can players go down in a deliberate head-to-head tackle without being heftily fined. The NFL is bragging this year because reported concussions from the 2016 season are down. However, Michael Powell in 2017, after his research, noticed there's a catch. In 2016, the most concussions ever were reported at 183. But the NFL is bragging because the concussions are down from the 2016 season. It doesn't matter. There are still 163 reported concussions, which means 163 athletes are that much closer to a life-altering disease. Now that we've talked about how prevalent concussions are, let's recap what I've talked about. Remember Chris. Chris was a world-class athlete. He had his entire life to live for. But because he played the sport he loved, he put himself at risk for a concussion, and this risk later took his life. I believe this topic connects to the community engagement pillar of Missouri State's 3 pillars of public affairs. I believe it connects to this pillar because as the community becomes more engaged, as the community becomes more informed, as the community knows more about this deadly and dangerous disease, the more likely we are to raise these athletes, these young athletes, as young as 4 and 5, trying to play football, wanting to be like Brett Favre, wanting to be like Junior Seau. We can protect them from this deadly disease that could take their life. Let's remember Chris again. If someone would have noticed his signs and his symptoms of a concussion, his life could have been saved. But because people aren't informed enough about this topic, he lost his life.